A fire in Moscow and a real disaster in Krasnogorsk near Moscow caused by the careless demolition of a ski complex. Locals are in shock from the aftermath of the demolition on the ground.
It's like some kind of apocalypse, honestly.
On November 11th, construction materials caught fire at a residential complex site on Ostashkovskaya Street. Residents shared footage showing smoke visible from nearby streets. The flames were quickly extinguished. And these are shots from Krasnogorsk near Moscow. This is the moment of the demolition of the Snezhkom ski complex, during which cars and windows in nearby houses were damaged. The footage shows a large concrete piece of the structure falling from the top and shattering on the ground. Pieces flew dozens of meters, damaging parked cars and windows in a residential building.
Look, their car got smashed. And here the trees got knocked down. Right here, a woman with a child in a stroller was almost hit. And here on the 5th floor, we have neighbors. Their window was shattered.
During the collapse of Snezhkom, a wave of earth and construction debris engulfed a passerby. Judging by the footage, a wall of earth and structural parts fell on the man. He fell onto the road. A 34-year-old resident of the building next to the complex was also injured. She suffered a cut on her nose. In the residential complex located next to the ski center, the strong shaking caused cracks in the walls and tiles inside the apartments.
Here's another crack in the hallway. Some of the tiles even popped out completely, it seemed.
According to local telegram channels, during the demolition of the Snezhkom complex in Krasnogorsk, workers were dropping blocks from above to the ground using a cable. Although in response to earlier complaints from local residents about the demolition, they were told that the complex would be dismantled in a controlled manner. The Russian Investigative Committee reports that a criminal case has been opened due to violations of safety regulations during construction work.
NATO has formulated and developed a detailed 4,400-page defense plan for a war with the Russian Federation. NATO confirms that Russia has already begun Phase 0 in preparing for war with the alliance. And now more information in our report. My name is Yevhen Sirov and this is the Glavored channel. Subscribe and leave a like. Let's get started. Among NATO military personnel and officials, there is growing confidence that war with Russia is inevitable. It's not just military experts who are talking about Phase 0 in the confrontation with Russia. There is also serious concern within NATO itself, according to the publication Welt. At the same time, experts note that the danger of a Russian attack will increase significantly after the war in Ukraine ends. No one can say with certainty how long the war currently taking place in Ukraine will continue, but the potential risk of an attack on NATO territory, especially in the Baltic countries, will be greatest after the war in Ukraine is over. We are already in Phase 0, a former high-ranking NATO general told the publication. The alliance is also currently concerned about the reorganization of certain Russian military districts. This reform will likely lead to an increased presence of Russian troops on the borders with NATO countries, said the head of Estonia's Foreign Intelligence Service, Kaupo Rosin, in an interview with Welt. We see that these units are rapidly redeployed to Ukraine, in most cases after just 1 or 2 weeks of training, to engage in combat operations. But sooner or later, they will return, he emphasized. NATO is conducting intensive preparations to prevent a Russian attack, and work has already begun on implementing secret defense plans. According to the publication, the Supreme Allied Commander Europe of NATO, Christopher Donahue, presented a comprehensive and detailed defense concept to the military representatives of the 32 NATO member states in Brussels 9 days ago, a concept for a deterrence line on the eastern flank, spanning 4,400 pages in total. Drones and autonomous weapons play a particularly key and important role in Donahue's concept, as does the deployment of additional heavy weaponry along NATO's eastern border. Furthermore, improving networked interoperability between various armed forces for more effective data sharing is also emphasized, the publication notes. Recently, the Belgian Minister of Defense stated that if Russia intends to carry out even a non-nuclear strike on NATO countries, for example, on Brussels, in response they would level Moscow to the ground. Earlier, NATO Secretary General Rutte stated that Putin is generally running out of money, soldiers, and ideas for the war against Ukraine. According to him, the dictator is making very little progress on the battlefield in Ukraine, and the minor gains that are made come at an enormous cost.
A diplomatic scandal recently broke out between Russia and Italy. In Rome, during renovation work, the Torre dei Conti Tower collapsed. People were injured. One worker was trapped under the rubble for 10 hours before being rescued. And at that moment, reeking of alcohol, the boozy loudmouth Maria Zakharova showed up and openly mocked the accident. She implied that this was Italy paying the price for helping Ukraine.
The official representative of the Russian Foreign Ministry, Maria Zakharova, responded to a report by the Italian newspaper Corriere della Sera about the collapse of a historic tower in the center of Rome. As long as the Italian government keeps wasting its taxpayers' money senselessly, all of Italy will collapse, from its economy to its towers, she wrote on Telegram.
The Italian Foreign Ministry called Zakharova pathetic and summoned the Russian ambassador to deliver a note of protest.
Zakharova, maybe you should try to understand who Russians really are. Are they the ones? The ones who take and deport Ukrainian children to Russia? The ones who kill civilians? Do you know why? Maybe we should try to understand why those who talk this way about such a tragedy. Because I see a lot of people around me, public figures speaking to the masses, who deep down keep saying, well, yes, but Russia still has its reasons. Russia has no reasons at all. This is a country ruled by ruthless murderers. People who do not value life, who have no morals, and the only way to respond to this is with one thing: firmness and strength by helping Ukrainians defeat them on the battlefield.
But it shouldn't have been just the Italians who were outraged here. First and foremost, it should have been the Russians. What the bold Putin does Zakharova have to laugh about, claiming that a tower in Italy supposedly collapsed because of Ukraine, when at the very same time millions of Russians, thanks to Ukraine, are sitting without electricity, communication, or fuel? Unlike the press drunk, they are not laughing at all.
Just behind the blue building, on the left side.
Wow, the power's out again.
The result of the 4-year special military operation, de-electrification and de-internetization of Russia. At first, the loyal serfs really liked the idea of bombing Ukrainian infrastructure. They enjoyed the news about blackouts in Ukraine and wrote sarcastic comments like, "Take that, you damned Banderites, that's for your Mazepa bombs."
Back then, we should have struck, not necessarily with tactical nuclear weapons, but really struck for real. NATO wouldn't last long anyway.
Why do you think so?
Because he's our president and he'll do everything to make sure that Russia never suffers from any side ever in his life. We believe in him. Vladimir Putin is doing a great job.
But it turned out that this is a game two can play. The president of Ukraine warned Russia that the response would be a mirror one. However, by that time, not all Russians could see his address, because they were left without internet.
How do you feel about the mobile internet being turned off at night?
It's terrible. I had to walk home because of it. In heels at night. Happy birthday, by the way. Of course, it's bad. Like I said, you can't even call a taxi. It's all bad. What else can I say? Well, it's really inconvenient. This situation is very upsetting.
Even though we're the country that's mostly under sanctions, cutting off the internet at night is just too much.
The first to learn about the blackouts were in the Kursk and Belgorod People's Republics. In Belgorod, karma hit the power station and the city was plunged into darkness with water and communication outages.
This video was filmed at the Belgorod Philharmonic at the end of September. During the concert, an air raid alert was announced and the lights went out in the hall. In
such a situation, the great deep-rooted urge for looting revealed itself in full. The saddest governor in the world, Gladkov, complained that Belgorod residents are stealing parts from generators en masse amid the blackouts. Local descendants of the victors over Napoleon are cutting out batteries and cables from generators, on which 2.3 billion rubles from the budget were spent. It must be admitted that not everyone is stealing. Many of the units were simply smashed for fun.
Nice. You guys are really pulling it off. You know how to do it, you really do.
We clearly understand that we won't be able to provide backup generators for every residential building at the current scale.
There are three things you can watch endlessly: how Ukrainian drones buzz over the swamps, how Russian electrical substations burn, and how ultra-patriots whine in the dark.
That's how dark it is here right now. You can see people over there with candles burning. Only the cars are lit up.
Vyacheslav Gladkov stated that 40,000 people are left without electricity.
Next, it was the turn of the Reich's capital. Despite the insane amount of air defense systems covering the entire Moscow region, there's still no light at the end of the tunnel there. While Putin fantasizes about dividing the world and capturing the Donetsk region in 3 days, dark times have come to the Moscow suburbs. Debris landed there, treacherously deceiving the air defenses, and struck the Leb Balashevskaya substation. At the same time, something exploded in the city of Zhukovsky, and Moscow fully experienced how the special military operation is going according to plan, following the schedule of power outages. The commander of Ukraine's drone systems, Madyar, sent his fiery regards not only to Muscovites, but also to Tula, Yaroslavl, Vladimir, and other cities that aren't interested in politics. The war is getting closer and closer for Russians. Now they can see it not only on TV, but right outside their window. Especially since the TV isn't working. Madyar promises Russians that soon they will get used to and adapt to living in the dark.
Oil refineries are burning regularly. Gasoline in the swamps is expensive and scarce, and gas and naphtha are quickly burned up. The time has come to ramp up the application. We will become 5%. Drones are waiting for a pilot, not for packaging. I am announcing recruitment for the unmanned systems forces. Over 15,000 vacancies.
A gasoline crisis is spreading across the entire failed state. Every day, oil refineries and oil depots are burning. This is no longer even news, it's harsh Russian everyday reality. Go out onto the balcony in the morning and watch the burning oil refinery over a cup of coffee.
What beauty. Beauty.
Wow.
Look at this, right?
In Tuapse, an entire tanker flotilla was recently burned. It's safe to say that Tuapse is now an official port. Attributions of Ukrainian drones. Russia has already lost more than 20% of all its oil refining capacity. As a result, gasoline is rationed and the lines at gas stations stretch on for a lifetime. Now more than ever, the saying is relevant: if you want to attack other countries, you'd better know how to pull a sled. Sleds don't need gasoline, so they're coming back into fashion.
The gasoline supply line, which is located in the city of Gurzov, damn it.
In the Irkutsk region, a new wave of the fuel crisis has begun. At the beginning of October, several gas stations stopped selling gasoline at once. First in Tulun and Angarsk, then in Irkutsk and Cheremkovo. Drivers are being limited to no more than 10 to 15 liters per person.
The geography of Ukrainian retaliatory strikes is expanding, just as the geography of regions experiencing fuel shortages is expanding. It turns into a comical situation. The Kremlin attacked Ukraine supposedly so that NATO wouldn't strike first and take Russia's resources. But in the end, Russians are left without resources, electricity, water, or fuel. Why did this happen?
Just because...
If Russians would use critical thinking at least occasionally, they could come to a simple conclusion. The war only brings them losses and inconvenience. You can't fill up your car with imaginary greatness. You can't wash your hair with greatness. And greatness won't make the bathroom light turn on.
We're dying here like... We're literally dying?
Now, sitting in the dark, Russians will have time to think and really assess the situation. All the more so since they won't be distracted by their phones because there's no internet or mobile connection either. In Krasnodar, because of frequent outages, people have even started switching to good old walkie-talkies.
I'm saying cookies, damn it. Please find me some cookies. I'm looking. Oh, there they are. That's a different one. That's not from the Yubileni Peak.
You can also simply tap gently on the rails if you prefer, or alternatively, you can use nanocups on a nanostring as well.
A payphone built with the latest technology was installed in the center of Donetsk. The device is significantly different from its predecessors in every way. Alexei Savichev will tell us what is so special about this device.
Every day, the residents of the Republic face the same problem, and young people in particular are affected. This little electronic device can leave you cut off from the outside world at any moment. However, the best specialists in the Republic worked for many months to solve this problem.
There are connection problems even thousands of kilometers away from Ukraine. Basically, in Russia, there are no more safe havens left anywhere up to the Urals. Everywhere Ukrainian drones reach, the benefits of civilization come to an end. Even Tyumen is already offline.
We're in isolation. I just step outside my house and my phone turns into a brick because nothing works. I go to a gas station and I have to carry a card with me because my mobile internet doesn't work. Just now, I went into a coffee shop and I couldn't pay because their terminal wasn't working since the mobile internet was down. Their Wi-Fi wasn't working either, so I just left with nothing because I couldn't pay by card or QR code. I needed cash. Now everyone has to make phone calls again. And now I'm sitting in my car listening to what? The radio.
The reason for the communication blackout in Russia isn't just Ukrainian flying packages, but also Putin's paranoid affliction. The moth is tightening the totalitarian screws and under the cover of chaos is setting up a digital gulag in the swamps. Even when the connection is restored, only propaganda resources from the so-called white list of sites remain accessible. All the dumps there are hand-picked. Messenger Max, vKontakte and Yandex. Basically, so that the serfs don't ask any unnecessary questions and keep reading about endless victories and successes on all fronts. And the fact that these successes come with no electricity or water is blamed on foreign agents, crypto-banderites, and Satanists.
So basically they film these videos like, I don't know how to get there, so I'll just drive right up to the door. I had a meeting today. I got all charged up, but I can't get there because this damn navigator doesn't work downtown. And what do you think happened? I just spent an hour driving around the Kremlin. I couldn't fucking turn where I needed to.
Russians should remember that winter is coming. And Ukraine hasn't even ramped up production of long-range missiles yet. But that's just a matter of time. In winter, Ukrainian flamingos won't fly south, but east, and the residents of Mordor will be surprised not by blackouts, but by their absence.
I would like to remind you that this video is created for entertainment purposes and contains elements of satire and irony. All facts and events are presented in a hyperbolized or exaggerated form to convey a comedic or dramatic effect. Our goal is not to mislead, but to highlight humor. Please take it with a smile.